Good morning, students. Today I want to give you a short, a brief introductory lecture on Russian literature. Now you have been reading Tolstoy, right? আমরা GDC first semeও Tolstoy পড়েছি, and then again in OT also you have Tolstoy, and then you have Anton Chekhov. So these are some of the most famous Russian writers, most important Russian writers. But I have deliberately taken this topic today, Russian literature, to give you some introduction, some kind of little bit of clarity. What is this Russian literature? ঠিক আছে? It's a very simple approach, very basic, but I'm sure it will be of some help to you. কিছুটা তোমাদের কাজে নিশ্চয়ই আসবে to understand Tolstoy and Chekhov. Anton Chekhov আর লিও টলস্টয়কে বোঝার জন্য এই রাশিয়ান লিটারেচারের একটা ছোট্ট একটা ক্লাস যেটা তৈরি করেছি, সেটা তোমাদের হোপফুলি কাজে আসবে. Now, Russian literature is actually, we find that particularly in syllabus, it's almost a very new encounter for the students. ছাত্রদের জন্য একদম নতুন জিনিস. It is not that কি রাশিয়ান লিটারেচার আগে পড়া হয়নি, but no, it has been read, but এখন যে সিলেবাসে একদম সিস্টেমেটিক্যালি যেটা তোমাদের দেওয়া হয় বা হচ্ছে, that is definitely something very new, and it comes under world literatures definitely. রাশিয়াকে নিয়ে আমাদের যেটা, obviously Russian literature বলতে you will definitely want to think about Russia. So what is the general image when we think of Russia? That it has been a very socialist and communist country. তো তেমন একটা পজিটিভ ইমেজ নয় এদের দেশে. We have in other classes also in relation to Tolstoy's chapters and short stories, I have told you how monarchy replaced হয়ে এদের দেশটা সোশ্যালিস্ট হয়ে গেছে বা কমিউনিস্ট হয়ে গেছে, whereas অন্য দেশে ইউরোপিয়ান কান্ট্রিজে আমরা পাই যে monarchy replaced and democracy came. কিন্তু in Russia what happened? It became a communist country after monarchy was replaced. So in Russian, generally we imagine that এই দেশে আর কি হবে where there is only communism, where there is no democracy and all. But then Russian literature, when we read Russian literature and we have read Leo Tolstoy, we find how this image is corrected. আমাদের যে রাশিয়াকে নিয়ে, রুশ দেশকে নিয়ে যেটা ধারণা, সেটা রাশিয়ান লিটারেচারের মাধ্যমে কারেকশন হয়. কারেকশন হচ্ছে maximum time the image of Russia gets corrected through Russian literature. ঠিক আছে, এখানে RL মানে Russian literature. Russian literature main features key, remember this, most of the writings are society centered. The Russians are proud of their country and of their history. Realism, I have again and again mentioned about realism. Realism is writing as it is, যেভাবে চারিদিকে আছে রাইটার সেভাবেই লিখবে. ওকে, being very but যেভাবে লিখবে doesn't mean very not critical. It was very critically writing about the realist environment, about life surrounding him or her. রাইটার্সদের আশেপাশে যেটা জীবন ছিল সেটা নিয়ে ক্রিটিক্যালি লেখা, একদম অ্যাজ ইট ইজ লেখাকে রিয়েলিজম বলে. অ্যান্ড হোয়াট ইজ রিয়েলিজম মানে কি? রিয়েলিজম ডাজন্ট মিন যে যেরকম লেখা একদম ABCDEFGH. নো, when the writer is writing from the realist point of view, he is trying to be critical. He wants the readers to think. He wants the readers to think. He's criticizing and wants the readers to think and rethink about the society he's presenting, about the society he is writing for the readers. Russian literature is filled with compassion for the oppressed class. Oppressed class এই জন্য because we find that Russia was under the rules of the czars, CZAR. নিশ্চয়ই তোমরা পলিটিক্যাল সায়েন্স অ্যান্ড হিস্ট্রিতে পড়েছো, আর স্কুলেও আমরা পড়েছি about the czars, the রুশ দেশের রাজাদেরকে জার আর রানীদেরকে জারিনা বলা হতো. So how there is a huge gap between the monarchy and the common man, and which ultimately led to the October Revolution, 1917 এর যেটা অক্টোবর রেভলিউশন যেটা হয়েছিল, because of this gap and how the monarchy was not really concerned about the common people. And then so compassion for the oppressed, Russian literature আমরা common man, the representation of the common man is seen, and Russian writers when they write, there is, we find they have huge compassion for the oppressed Russians. About the meaning of life, another feature is they write about the meaning of life. আমরা টলস্টয়ের শর্ট স্টোরিতে দেখেছি where the writers say short story title থেকে আমরা বুঝতে পাই how Pehom, he was after land, জমি লাগে, he wants more land and he wants to become more richer, want to become more powerful. The more lands you have, the more powerful you are. The more lands you have, the more powerful you are. And Russiaতে আমরা দেখি একটা huge problem ছিল about the landed gentry, The king was at the top, রাজা সবার উপরে, the monarch or the emperor or the czar or the czarina, আর এদের নিচে যারা ছিল those were called the landed gentry. তার নিচে, রাজার নিচে যে ছিল ওর কাছে আর একটু কম জমি ছিল, তারপর ওর নিচে যে ছিল ওর কাছে একটু কম জমি ছিল. So it was like systematic, a chain system, a chain of people, a chain of rulers who were in possession of huge lands. And রাশিয়া ম্যাপ খুললে দেখতে পাবে ওল্ড আগের রাশিয়া, এখন মডার্ন রাশিয়া তো ছোট রাশিয়া, প্রিভিয়াসলি দ্য আর্লিয়ার রাশিয়া, দ্য সোভিয়েত রাশিয়া, সোভিয়েত ইউনিয়ন যেটা ছিল, ইট ওয়াজ সাচ এ হিউজ কান্ট্রি. ইন্ডিয়ার মতো একটা বিরাট, ইন্ডিয়া চায়নার মতো, ইট ওয়াজ এ ভেরি হিউজ কান্ট্রি. So you can understand from there the importance of the lands. আর টলস্টয় যেটা শর্ট স্টোরি হিসেবে তো আমরা দেখতে পাই where he says how much land does a man need. So searching for the meaning of life. Okay, Russian literature is a bit spiritual kind. Unlike the other European literatures, we find that they are more related to God, related to spiritual, related to the morality, maintaining the morality. Okay, old Russian literature যেটা 17th centuryর আগে যেটা Russian literature, সেগুলোতে যেগুলো লিটারেচার আছে অ্যাভেলেবল, we find they are more didactic মানে related to morality. কী করলে, what the good things, if you do good things you will go to heaven, if you do bad things you will go to hell. Okay, if you live a good life, এটা করলে then you will go to heaven, and if you don't do all this, if you choose the wrong path, then you will go to hell. So very didactic literature আমরা দেখি, old Russian literature it was very didactic. Another thing is Russia is basically a Christian country, and most Europe is basically a Christian continent, and Russia definitely a majorly Christian country. But unlike Europe যেটা Christianity practice করা হতো, which was bit moderate, whereas Russia practiced very orthodox Christianity, orthodox Eastern Christianity, and rest of Europe followed Western Christianity, which was a bit flexible. And রাশিয়াতে আমরা দেখি, রাশিয়ান লোকেদেরকে আমরা দেখি, they were a bit strict about religion. They followed religion more religiously, you can say. They followed religion more religiously. So it was called the Orthodox Eastern Christianity being practiced in Russia. আর যেগুলো writings available সেগুলো definitely didactic, it will be more didactic, it will be related to morality and religion and good deeds and bad deeds. And we find that there was a huge absence of great writers. Okay, সেই 700 years, 600-700 years এর যেটা ওল্ড রাশিয়ান লিটারেচারের সময় যেটা ছিল, সেটাতে গ্রেট রাইটার্স, ওয়ার্ল্ড ক্লাস রাইটার্স এমন দেখা যায় না. And most of the writings were didactic, chronicles related. What is chronicles related? Chronicle মানে history, documentary, didactic, এইসব themes নিয়ে লেখা হতো. Okay, I hope this much is clear for you. Russian literature, it is a new encounter for the students in our country, in our present literature. ফর এক্সাম্পল আমরা যখন কলেজে পড়েছি, কলেজ ইউনিভার্সিটিতে পড়েছি, তখন পার্টিকুলারলি কলেজ রাশিয়ান লিটারেচার ওয়াজ নট দ্যাট সিস্টেম্যাটিক্যালি পুট। এখন যেরকম তোমাদের সিলেবাসে একটা ঢালা হয়েছে, আমাদের সময় এরকম সিস্টেম্যাটিক্যালি ছিল না, বাট ডেফিনেটলি ইট ওয়াজ in the sidelight at that time. এখন it has this has been put under world literatures and the importance. What is the importance of Russian literature? It is very society centered. It exposes Russian lives, the Russian people to us. Why is it very important? Russia is a very important country, and through Russian literature we get an insight into the lives of the Russian people from in the different periods. Old Russian literature আমরা কি পাই, রাইটিংস যেগুলো ছিল ভীষণ ডাইডাক্টিক ছিল, মরালিটি কনসার্ন ছিল, ক্রনিকলস হিস্ট্রি রিলেটেড ছিল, বিভিন্ন ধরনের ডকুমেন্টারি নিয়ে টপিক্স নিয়ে লেখা হতো ছোটোখাটো, but no major writers were there. World class major great writers were not created during the time of old Russian literature period, which was almost of 700 years. Then in 17th and 18th century we find Russian literature had showed the impact of European Enlightenment. তখন Renaissance movement was on in Europe, so we find that how Russia definitely also got affected. এখন Renaissance movement, so it affected the whole world. Europe থেকে it spread to other countries. So definitely Russia being a part of Europe, they also got affected. Peter the Great, যে রাজা ছিলেন সেই সময়, the emperor of Russia, he played a very important role. He was very much fascinated, very much affected by Renaissance. He used to visit various European countries, okay, and then he used to try to bring reforms as far as possible to Russian lives and Russian people. And we find that Peter the Great, he played a very important role in making the modern Russia. আজকে যেটা মডার্ন রাশিয়া আমরা দেখি, সেই সময় আমরা বলতে পারি এটা পিটার দ্য ফার্স্ট বা পিটার দ্য গ্রেট যে রাজা ছিলেন, তখন ওনার সময় থেকে এটা শুরু হয়েছে। ওকে, সো হি ওয়াজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি, you can say, a bit of an exceptional king. There definitely every monarchy has both negative and positive sides, but unlike other monarchs, we find that Peter the Great, he contributed a lot. He contributed a lot in making the modern Russia. Okay, he was very much fascinated with the shipbuilding industry. He created the navy, the Russian navy. Aajkal jeta Russian navy, it's a very powerful navy. So it was first created by Peter the Great. He saw how the English. He was very much fascinated by the English navy and the Dutch navy. হল্যান্ডের যেটা নেভি ছিল আর ইংল্যান্ডের যেটা নেভি ছিল সেই সময়, the success that England and Holland and other countries, European countries were seeing because of the navy, ওটা দেখে he introduced or he strengthened the navy and created the navy and shipbuilding in Russia. Then in 19th century, landed gentry, I already explained what is landed gentry. All those যেটা এম্পারার থেকে শুরু হয়, সিস্টেমেটিকলি চেইন সিস্টেম, এম্পারারের নিচে মিনিস্টার্সের নিচে আদার্স ওয়ে দের, লাইক আমাদের দেশে যেরকম উপরে ব্রিটিশার্সরা ছিল, ব্রিটিশার্সদের নিচে কারা ছিল, দ্য ইন্ডিয়ান জামিনদার্স ওয়ে দের হু লুকড আফটার দ্য ল্যান্ডস অ্যান্ড কন্ট্রোল দ্য কমন পিপল. The Britishers control the common people through zamindars. The zamindars played the mechanical tool of as the mechanical tool for the Britishers to control the country. So similarly, Russia to সেরকম system ছিল, রাশিয়াতে সেটা আরও it was very more seriously observed. It has been more seriously observed. And টলস্টয় রাইটিংসে আমরা খুব বেশি এটা পাই। আমরা একটা তো তোমাদের শর্ট স্টোরি আছেই, how much land does a man need, where Pehom, the central character, he wants more land. So Tolstoy has been often been identified with showing this, writing about the peasant class, the farmer class, that related to land, related to village. Okay. Then you come to the 19th century Russian literature. You can say it was from 1800 to 1910, and it is called the golden age of Russian literature. Why is it called the golden age of Russian literature? Because at that time Russia created some of the giants of literature. Pushkin, He is the national poet of Russia. Pushkin belonged to this age. Turgenev, Gogol, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Chekhov, and Gorky, Maxim Gorky. There are many other writers also, but for the time being, you should remember this and you should memorize this. 19th century, the golden age of Russian literature, 1800 to 1910, a period of সময় Pushkin, Turgenev, Gogol, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Chekhov, and Gorky. Now, Gorky, he stood, Maxim Gorky, you can say he stood in between 19th and 20th century, in the middle. He saw both the 19th and 20th century. And this period was preparing for the 1917 revolution. এখন দেখো এটা দেখো 1910 পর্যন্ত এদেরকে ঢুকানো হয় এই টাইম পিরিয়ডে। তারপরেই আমরা দেখি 1917-এ কীরকম অক্টোবর রেভলিউশন, how October Revolution takes place. It was quite a bloody revolution, and how those of you have studied in political science and history, you will be knowing in more details the role and importance of Russian Revolution or the October Revolution, and how it overthrew the monarchy and then communism took over. তখনকার যেটা লিটারেচার যেটা বেরিয়ে আসে, এরা যে লিটারেচার লিখে, তো আমি আগেও বলেছি টলস্টয় হোয়াট হি রোট অ্যাবাউট, হি মোস্টলি রোট অ্যাবাউট দি পেসেন্ট অ্যান্ড দ্য farmer class and related to lands related নিয়ে লিটারেচার, ওনার লিটারেচারের রাইটিংসে আমরা পাই। Then about the monarchy, then about serfdom. Now this serfdom is also related to this landed gentry. Serfs, who are the serfs? Try to find out. I'm sure you must be knowing this. যেটা সিস্টেমের যেটা চেইন যেটা ক্রিয়েট হয়েছিল, আর সবার নিচে যারা ছিল এদেরকে সার্ফস বলা হতো। ওকে, so serfdom, their literature showed about serfdom, about landed gentry, about the direct and indirect effect of the monarchy or the royal regimes এর যেটা এফেক্ট ছিল মানুষের উপর সেটা। and then literature became more fragmented. আগে লিটারেচার কী দেখেছিলাম আমরা, it was very didactic, very limited, যেগুলো টপিক্স নিয়ে লেখা হতো those are very limited. Later on we find it became more and more fragmented. The writers started taking up more and more topics. More and more lives were covered. Different kinds of lives were covered. The Russians were more and more covered in the later literature. And of course, morality kept on being an important theme. Russia is considered to be quite a serious Christian country. And morality themes, it has always continued to remain. আগে ছিল, আর তারপর যে মডার্ন হয়ে গেছিলো doesn't mean, বা 19th-20th century এসে গেছিলো, it doesn't mean that morality was skipped. Morality still plays a very important role in Russian literature. 20th century Russian literature, poetry played a huge role. It was called the Silver Age of Poetry. Okay, and Vladimir Mayakovsky is one of the most important Russian poets. And then Gorky, 19th and 20th century middle আমরা রাখতে পারি, সেটা আগে বলেছি। Then Nabokov, very famous and important world writer, another important world writer. These are all world writers, world class writers. Okay, the giants of Russian literature. Then how will you pronounce this? Solzhenitsyn, he got the Nobel Prize also in 1970. So you can understand, they have started getting importance in world literatures. So we find that they started getting even awarded for their writings. একদম worldwide recognition পাওয়া এদের শুরু হয়ে গেছিল। এখন বর্তমান যেটা প্রেজেন্ট Russian literature, there are too many writers, important writers are there. I have just named 2 or 3 of them. Ludmila Ulitskaya, Vera Poloskova, Boris Akunin. They are all very important writers. Particularly Ludmila is very famous. She's known. And another important thing is the female writers have played a very important role in representing the Russians also. So this is a basic introduction, a very small brief introduction for the time being, for your understanding. You can say the ABC of Russian literature. This much is enough. If you want more knowledge, definitely you should research more. You should try to read more, and it is a duty as a student also to find out more. And Russian literature is as delightful as other European literatures. And aestheticism, politics, religion, and morality, uh, common man who constituted the lower economic status, who were of the lower economic status, this got all represented. Aestheticism, what is aestheticism? The beauty, okay, art for art's sake, যেটা movement যেটা ইউরোপে ছিল. So the beauty of life and living around is captured in literature, that is aestheticism. Politics definitely will play a very important role in Russian literature. Religion, morality, আমি আগেও বলেছি, religion plays a very important role in Russian lives, common man তো আছেই. So I think this is enough for a basic understanding, or a very basic introduction to Russian literature. Please go through this class again and again. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.